Mark,
Hey, Paul.
didn't mean to scare you there.
Oh
Um,
yeah, dude. It was just I'm in the mode to be scared. I'm sitting here admiring the visual storytelling of Mike Perkins in this new The Batman First Night.
yeah, we should talk about that. In fact, you know what? We will talk about that, but we'll talk about it right after this. So, before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, leave us a comment, hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. I think that covers just about everything that we want you to hit. Well, yeah, let's
Great.
talk about exactly. So it's first night. It's Black Label. It's Batman. It's the Bat hyphen Man.
Yeah, they got it
Uh,
right for once.
exactly.
They they,
Um,
they titled it in Bob Kane's inner dialogue, The Batman.
exactly. And it's written by renowned Batman writer Dan Jurgens. What? Dan Jurgens, who probably is synonymous with Superman for the last
Superman.
40 years, is writing a Batman story, a Black Label Batman story.
And my God, did he write one? This is
Yeah,
fantastic from cover to cover. This was a very unique experience. I'm excited to dive into it. It takes us back to a 1939, like you would remember, but they have inserted Batman into it in the great crime noir feel.
yeah, it sets everything up. We know it's Batman's first year because of some of the things that we talk about, like the fact that it talks about the Depression. It talks about Hitler in Germany, but from a Batman standpoint too, it's one of his earliest things because there's no Alfred, right? We
Mhm.
identify that there's no Alfred here
No
yet, so
Batmobile. He's riding
right, no
around in a
Batmobile,
regular
right?
Studebaker.
He's wearing his purple gloves like he did in his first year. It actually does talk about the fact that he just started out because he's just kind of made contact with Commissioner Gordon as well. So all of those
They do a
things,
fantastic job, being that this is a Black Label title. It stands on its own merits. And they do a fantastic job time placing this with the opening cover. Like the front cover is a stack of newspapers, which look like actual real newspapers that have kind of been uh, augmented to say Gotham this, Gotham that, and even little. They inserted one here and then
mhm,
one down here, which look like straight up fakes, and they kind of stand out. But it says chemical magnate dies in factory's acid tank, which is from Detective Comics 27.
right.
So
The
they
case
did
of
it.
the chemical thief, or whatever his name, I can't remember the Ace Chemical. That was his first. That was his first crime caper that
It
he
was
that he
Alfred
solved.
Stryker.
Right,
That's when Batman killed that man.
right, right.
He
Exactly.
took him through the railing into the vat, and he didn't come out on the other end the Joker.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, he really
Back
does go to
when chemicals were a little bit stronger.
he really does, and to even to make it even more is the art of Mike Perkins definitely evokes the feeling of like kind of like the 1930s pulp novels type things almost. So
Yeah, it
yeah, I
sets the
mean,
tones.
oops,
That was
sorry,
yeah, dude. It makes me want to go through a crisis.
make me want to do
Sets
it
the
all over
tone,
again.
sets the vibes, everything very well for Gotham. The way the city's drawn, it feels like the 1930s, 1940s. You have I don't know, it's just on point. It's very moody. It's very depression-y feeling in sense.
Yeah, and it has like the pulp novels, they almost have almost like a semi-realism to their drawings too. It's like, it's very everything, nothing is exaggerated. It's very anatomically correct. It's very,
Very
everything is very
Sorrentino in aspects.
exactly. Yeah. Which is a hallmark of the pulp novels back in the late 20s and early 30s.
And to
Um,
the voice of the book as well. Like it has like because you have like the press, back then you don't have social media, you don't have smart this or smart that. You have press. People had to surround someone, ask questions, gather information to get it to press to get the papers out. And that's how it really starts off. It starts off with we kind of see like a little radio, someone sitting by the fire listening to their radio, kind of giving us the tone and the vibes and like kind of mood setting this world. And it cuts straight to Gordon trying to walk down the street surrounded by the press, asking questions. And the voice of the book really just jumped out right from the start because I heard it in that old timey voice, like Gotham's murder rate is out of control, Gordon.
yeah.
How you gonna stop it? Like some
Yeah,
say not the agents are behind this. Care to comment on that?
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a little bit faster than people talk nowadays. It's like, it's got that old
Yeah,
timey thing. Like, yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And so we find out that what Commissioner Gordon is investigating is there has been a murder inside of a restaurant. And it's not the first murder that we find out. People are fearing that it is one of the council members because apparently the people that have been running the Gotham City Council have been finding themselves on the wrong end of life, for lack of a better term. um, they've been dying as mobsters trying to take over the city or whatever. And so we go in and we find out that in fact it is another murder whose person had his head chopped off. So his
They
head is
didn't pay
lying
for
somewhere
it.
else.
They didn't steal the person's head. They left it on the table. So that was
Right,
cool.
exactly. Right. And we find out that it is another city council member. Um,
Mhm.
and the
And what a
so
weird reaction because, like, like I guess, like, we're conditioned for stuff like we're soft these days compared to how things were back in the day because the detectives with Gordon are making light of the
right.
situation. They're kind of snickering at the fact that the guy's head's over there, kind of thing. I thought that kind of caught me off guard. But
Yeah, one of them
in the
says
midst
looks like
of
he
it,
lost his head or something, right?
yeah, they're making jokes.
Yeah.
And then we get like the classic 1930s, like femme fatale. The dame comes walking in, the
Mhm.
dame of the establishment, and they do the questioning and try to get some answers and get some ideas of like why the victim was there, this and that. Gordon walks outside to get some air, and there's none other than millionaire Playboy Bruce Wayne, because there weren't billionaires back then, but
Right.
millionaire Playboy Bruce Wayne standing out there by his fancy car, asking Gordon if he wants to hop in and get a ride to get away from all the rigmarole. And they talk for a little bit as they're traversing Gotham and talking about the Batman and the state of the city and the state of affairs and this what are we going to do kind of thing. And you kind of get an idea of Bruce Wayne in this world.
Right. And so they're talking. They mentioned the Batman as well. He talks about the fact that that Gordon, although he's kind of he's not really with him, but he says as though he couldn't in his official position he couldn't sanction a vigilante, but he kind of theorizes that it may be another member of the police force who is trying to go outside of the lines to kind of do what the police can't.
And about this time, like Gordon's kind of talking with another officer about Bruce Wayne, like just the man who is Bruce Wayne, who's kind of the wealthy fluff that just kind of exists and doesn't this and doesn't that. And while they're dialoguing, you're seeing Bruce Wayne park his car in an empty warehouse and go into the trunk of another parked car and start having to physically get his suit on, which was
Right.
another unique aspect to the book that would only occur in one that's in 1939.
Right.
No Batcave, no gadgets, no Batmobile. Just I own this warehouse. I got a couple cars parked in here. One of them I happen to get my suit in at the moment, kind of thing. It was super cool.
Yeah, it really was. We go to the mayor's mansion, who is now the mayor is now talking to Commissioner Gordon on the phone, and he's telling him the Commissioner Gordon telling him what's going on and saying that what he may be in trouble because of what's happening. He is a prime suspect for what may come next because of what's been happening to the council members. And as he is there, there's a knock at the door. The mayor thinks it's the press who is coming to find out what's been happening in Gotham City.
It's
Instead, it is
definitely not.
it's definitely not the press. Instead, it is a bunch of people that are um, almost look like they're like half dead. Although we'll soon find out later that they may be all dead. Um, so there are just grotesque people that are at the door that are coming for him. And as soon as they start attacking him, the next page we get a splash page from Mike Perkins. It is Batman. He comes flying through one of the windows, and he
And that's
starts
our first real shot of Batman in the
exactly.
story. The full page splash with Mike Spicer doing an amazing work with the colors, all the way down to the boot details. Batman comes crashing in, and a fantastic fight ensues, and it was actually pretty intense. Like Batman had his hands full with these people, like we're so used to a Batman in a world where he's just it. Everything's just so easy. He can just go punk out Darkseid. Nah, man, he's having a fisticuff with people that are pretty strong, and that's actually holding him back. He's tussling with one while the other one's trying to get to its prey, and he's fighting to get there in time. It was a fantastic fight, and he didn't get away scotch-free. Lures him to the roof. They take a spat and fall off the roof, and he's injured, and he gets away barely and has to hide out from these people that are now chasing him.
Right. and we would be remiss if we didn't say, besides the purple gloves, and besides, he has the 1939 bat ears on his, exactly. They're pointed outward. It's like, yeah, but that's the way that they were. That's the way Bob Kane first drew them in 1939. So everything here again tells you firmly when this story is set. As you said, they kind of fall off the
The roof.
the roof, and then
Just fall
Batman
into
is
an alley. Yeah, he
exactly.
gets help. Like a character sees him and opens a door and recognizes somebody in trouble as he identifies with someone running for their lives. Brings Batman into his home really quickly so that the bad guys, these creatures, whatever they are, the hills have eyes looking mofos, can't get him. Brings him into his house and he identifies himself as Rabbi Jacob Cohen. They speak briefly and relate to like the high tension of the world affairs and how it makes him nervous as a person of his faith. Have they been going through what they were going through in Europe and stuff, and wondering if Gotham will ever go down this path? And everything's like a powdered keg ready to go off. And the guy pretty much tells Batman, like, you're obviously doing a lot on your own. If you ever need support, my temple is here for you.
I'm thinking we haven't seen the last of Rabbi.
Nah, man, Rabbi Cohen will be back.
Exactly.
Back.
So Batman runs off, and he ends up back in the
Wayne Manor.
In his Wayne Manor.
We get a first shot of his would-be Batcave.
Right. He's trying to find out some. He has something. He's trying to get the fingerprints off of.
He's got a knife. One of the knives from the fight, right?
Right. He's met by two people, an actor and an actress, who are basically there to chastise him because they were hired by a Wayne company to film this movie that now has been shut down at the last minute, and we come to find out the reason. Go ahead.
I was going to say this.
Go. You go.
Yeah, this was kind of a weird scene. They show up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an actor and actress who was on set for a production that was canceled because the backer of the production was a Wayne entity. So they wanted to come talk to Wayne to say, you need to believe in this project. And he's like, yo, I have nothing to do with this. This is like an offhand thing that runs itself independent of me. But Gotham is an insurance nightmare. Like the crime rate, all these murders that are happening, like we can't rightfully, safely try to put this on. Like people's lives are in danger and our money's in jeopardy, basically. And they're like, just, you got money, buy security, send them there. And he basically says, okay, fine, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they leave his house. It made no sense, to be honest with you. It has to come into play later. That's
exactly. It's one of those things where if you're gonna show a gun, it's got to be used at some point. I'm thinking there's got to be something's gonna happen on the site on the movie set at some point in this.
Let me find out these are our villains. You know what I mean? Like these are the only odd thing in the entire book. Like,
yeah, very well could be.
What are you doing, Dan?
Exactly. So he gets the fingerprints. He manages to get to Commissioner Gordon. He gives him the fingerprints. He basically says, once you have the fingerprints, let me know. He's like, how will I know how to call, how can I call you? And he says, you won't, I'll call you. It's like, don't.
And this was a great scene, by the way, because this is like what I assume was the first time Gordon saw Batman face to face in person. He just enters the window of the police station. And it was done so well artistically because Batman, of course, has got his cowl on. He's got a suit on. It's shocking to your senses. It has to be. But he still thinks to keep his cowl up and cover the bottom half of his mouth the entire time he's talking to Gordon. In every panel, Batman is just casually holding his cape over his mask because he doesn't want Gordon even having the possibility of recognizing him. I'm like, dude, how absolutely smart is that?
Mm-hmm.
And it almost gave me like the Shadow vibes with that one right there.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely does evoke the Shadow there.
Then he starts beating the streets.
Yep, exactly.
Speaking of beating people.
He goes back. Yeah, exactly. He goes back. He's searching for Maxie, who I can only assume is Maxie Zeus, probably. So he's searching for Maxie. Actually, he finds Maxie Zeus, who's the person who's running this brothel. He's looking for someone, and he thinks that Maxie Zeus may know where they are. He doesn't, but again we see Dame Number Two, who comes out of the shadows, who gives him some information, and says basically that that it seems as though these people that have been seen killing people, they're people who were once dead or thought dead, but somehow have come back to life.
Yeah, they were executed.
Correct.
Not just that. As a matter of fact, there's an execution scheduled for tonight.
Correct. So Batman thinks something may go down there, so he rushes to Arkham Asylum, or Blackgate. Sorry, Blackgate Prison. Yeah. Blackgate Penitentiary.
Where the all too excited staff are hooking somebody up to old Sparky, ready to do their civic duty and fry this dude.
Right. Exactly. Yep. We're gonna make America safe for everybody, even if we have to kill everybody to do it.
We're gonna make America spark again.
Right. So they put him in, and just as they're about to flick the switch after the warden's speech about what the wonderful work he's doing for America is.
Thank God for the warden.
Exactly. The power goes out.
Yeah.
And so now, so there's nothing going on. So then suddenly, Batman comes in through the window. They hear some voices. They realize that it was Batman who shut the power down to the building, to the entire Blackgate Penitentiary, not just that particular area. And so what they do,
to get the prisoner out of the chair though before he was subdued by the surrounding officers. And I will tell you, in this moment of him trying to get this guy out of the chair, I realized, yeah, you probably should have left him in the chair, because Dan Jurgens was smart enough to write the guy in the chair as not a victim. He seemed like he deserved to be there. He was a real life POS.
Right,
all the
exactly.
way down to the last second.
And so he manages to get the guy out of the chair. As he's doing that, he is then come upon by everyone else that's there. They manage to control him. They actually get him in the chair. And then on the very last page, the power comes back on mysteriously, and they flick the switch.
They got it back on during the fight, and all the guards in that moment, like in the room with the chair, like 4-on-1 fighting Batman, like, we can't hold him down. Strap him to the chair, and their ultimate solution was quick, flip it.
Yep.
Like, so Batman just took a ride on old Sparky.
There you go. Someone's been watching The Green Mile.
Yeah, he experienced the darkness, but he came through it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what a way to end, the first issue as well. I mean, you don't get too much more of a cliffhanger than having Batman be electrocuted.
It's actually super appropriate, because time era wise, 1939 is when they were like really doing the silver screen serials before feature films and stuff. Batman first appeared on the silver screen in those serialized films. Mm-hmm. Every single episode, which was a massive cliffhanger, that the end of one episode and the beginning of the next didn't line up seamlessly. It's like the next chapter kind of backed over the end of the first chapter to kind of retcon something. Like if you saw them crash in a plane, you saw them crash, they would back it up and show you this happened that was never shown before, and that they weren't in there, kind of thing. That's how I feel like this is. Like, the next issue, are we going to see him like swap suits with the actual guy in the chair? Like, what are we going to do?
You never know.
I hope they do that. I hope they lean into like that heavy serial movie serial style. I think it would be a great way to do this series and give us a crazy cliffhanger with the next issue or something as well.
Yeah, but yeah, this was just it was much better than I thought it was going to be. I totally enjoyed it. I went with the pulp novel cover as well, but all the covers are just are really nice.
I went with the A cover because I'm basic. Yeah. But it's beautiful.
But yeah, the A cover, exactly. They're all beautiful. And it's you get the large paper. You get the large. Hey, monkey.
You get the glossy pages. You get the glossy paper.
And you know what? And it's only like $7 for it's only
a thicker book too. Like, yeah, you get every dollar of this book is presented in the book. Mm-hmm. From the writing to the art to the colorer to the prestige format, the quality, the physical quality of it, it's all there. It's present.
Right. And like I said, Dan Jurgens, who is pretty much Superman for the past 40 years, proves, that besides probably Superman and Booster Gold are the two things that he's most known for. But he writes a Batman story here set firmly in 1939 that just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, he nailed it. I cannot wait for issue 2.
Absolutely.
I was looking forward to this book, but it thoroughly blew me away.
Absolutely. Let us know what you think of this issue as well in the comment section. Again, we think you're going to really enjoy it. But that's going to be it for this edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. I am Paul. He is Mark.
And this is Monkey.
Oh, and Monkey. Hi, Monkey.
But we are Legion.
And you're now leaving Sector 2815.